Hey everyone, I've gotten a few requests through facebook.com/iceflowstudios on how to create a smoke effect in Photoshop. Let's get started and make something hot. In this photo here we have a cup of coffee, but there's really no indication whether it's hot or not. Let me show you how to create smoke or steam to give the illusion of heat. The first thing we have to do is create a shape. To do this, I'm going to use the pen tool, but you can use any method that you prefer. As I'm drawing out the shape, you might notice that it looks nothing like smoke. Don't worry too much about the wispiness or the direction of the smoke. That will all be defined with a few filters later on. Once your shape is created, we want to make sure to convert the shape for smart filters. This will ensure that if we want to edit the filters later on, that option will be available to us. Good. Let's start adding our filters. The first filter we're going to add will be a Gaussian blur. This will help eliminate the sharp edges of our shape. Head up to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian blur. And I'm going to use the value of 14. You're free to play around with the value to achieve different results. Now that the blur is added, we need to add some wispiness. We're going to do this with the Wave filter. Again, head up to Filter, Distort, and then Wave. Now if you're working with a white shape, it might be difficult to see exactly what your shape will look like, so you may have to undo and try again a few times to get a nice result. I'm going to use the following values: 625, 113, 287, 1, 2, and 100% for the scales. Now a quick reminder, while these settings work for me, they may need to be tweaked for your project. Now that the wave is added, it's still not looking wispy enough. Let's add one more filter to really give it some flow. Again, head up to Filter, Distort, and then this time let's try a zigzag. For these settings, the amount will be 30, ridges 4, and make sure the style is set to a round center. When you press OK, you should see a much more believable shape, but we're far from complete. We're going to add one more blur to separate the edges a little bit. Instead of a Gaussian blur, we're going to add a surface blur. Because this filter gives you a live preview on your document, it may take a bit longer to load the results. I'm going to pop in 62 and 214 for the values. Good, we're almost there. The shape itself is looking nice, but it could use some texture. To do this, we're going to first create a new layer, and then create a selection from our smoke layer. This can be done by holding down Command or Control and clicking on the layer's thumbnail. Once the selection is made, head up to Filter, Render, and then Clouds. When the clouds are added, the effect is way overdone, so I'm going to simply set the blending mode to Overlay to get a nice blend. And now that the texture is added, there are a few layer tweaks I want to make to move away from the pure white smoke. Double click on the smoke layer to bring up our layer styles, and go ahead and add a satin. For the values, keep blend mode at multiply and the color at black. Change the opacity to 30, the distance to 30, and the size to 15. This will give a bit of darkness to the smoke. Now head up to the blending options at the top left and reduce the overall opacity of the layer to 50%. That's much better. Now we could stop here, but just to add some extra smoke, I can duplicate this layer and easily edit the filters by double clicking on the one that I want to change. This is why it's so important to convert your layer for smart filters. I'll go ahead and edit the wave filter and simply increase the maximum altitude to 14. When you accept the changes, it will take a few seconds to show up on your screen. Photoshop has to put together all the filters all over again. Once a new result is live, decrease the opacity to 20% and we're done. I don't know about you, but this is looking much hotter. Try it out yourself, but remember, you're going to have to play around with the settings to get the result you're looking for. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. Post your results on our Facebook page over at facebook.com/iceflowstudios. Take care.